For many people my age and older, Star Trek was our first geek love. We wanted to sit on the bridge with Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, go drinking with Scotty, fence with Sulu, trade jokes with Chekov, and sing a song with Uhura. It only seemed right to kick the podcast off with the beloved 1960s Sci-Fi TV classic. Hi, I'm your host, Brian Rollins, and this is the Dorky, Geeky, Nerdy podcast. This is a weekly game show to test your inner dork, geek, or nerd. Play it at home, in the car, or at the office. Got a geeky group that loves trivia? Play this on your Bluetooth speakers and have fun. Just geek out whenever and wherever you want. If you want to subscribe, you can find us at dorkygeekynerdy.com or your favorite podcast directory. The game will consist of 3 rounds: dorky, geeky, and nerdy, with each successive round getting harder. If you want some rules to play by, you can find some at dorkygeekynerdy.com/rules. If you or your group come up with your own set of rules, send them in to us. We'd love to share them with all the listeners. Well, that's enough chit-chat. Let's boldly go into this week's show. The Dorky Round. Number 1. In what year did the original Star Trek series premiere? The series premiered on September 8th, 1966. Number 2. What was the only 2-part episode in the series? The only 2-parter in the original series was The Menagerie. Number 3. Dr. McCoy hails from what U.S. state? The Good Doctor was born in Georgia. Number 4. The Enterprise's shuttle is named after what astronomer? The shuttle was named Galileo. Number 5. What fertile, furry creature absolutely hated Klingons? The menace of Deep Space Station K7, Tribbles, would give out a shrill noise when nearby Klingons. Number 6. Who created Star Trek? Gene Roddenberry. Number 7. Which series regular is only ever referred to by their last name throughout the original run? Nyota Uhura. Her first name wasn't given canonically until the 2009 film. Number 8. The Enterprise's 2 main weapons are what? Phasers and photon torpedoes. Number 9. Who is the actor that portrayed Mr. Spock? Leonard Nimoy. Number 10. The writers created what device to speed up moving from the Enterprise to any planet's surface? Transporters allowed the crew to get quickly from place to place without slowing down the episode's pace. The Geeky Round. These are going to get a little bit harder. Number 1. What civil rights leader talked Nichelle Nichols out of quitting the show? Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Number 2. What is the Enterprise's registry number? NCC 1701. Later ships would add a letter suffix. Number 3. Starfleet headquarters are located in what U.S. city? San Francisco. Number 4. The Enterprise's engines are housed in what structures? Nacelles, from the French word for the basket underneath a hot air balloon. Number 5. What was the final episode of Star Trek to air? The Turnabout Intruder. Number 6. Famed author and futurist Harlan Ellison contributed to which acclaimed Star Trek episode? The City on the Edge of Forever. Number 7. Andorians possess what unusual skin color? In addition to 2 antennae, Andorians are blue. Number 8. Vulcans undergo what process every 7 years? Pon farr. Number 9. In the episode Charlie X, Spock tries to teach what game to the titular character? Three-dimensional chess. Number 10. What does the T in James T. Kirk stand for? Tiberius. According to the 2009 film, he got it from his paternal grandfather. We'll get to round 3 in just a moment, but first a quick message. We here at Dorky, Geeky, Nerdy are big readers, and we want to share that with our listeners. Every week we'll showcase a new book. If you're interested, you can grab a copy, and it'll support the podcast. This week's book is The Federation, The First 150 Years, by David A. Goodman. This in-universe book contains the illustrated history of the Federation from its founding onward. It covers first contact with the Vulcans, the Romulan War, and much more. It contains illustrations and pictures of planets, aliens, and artifacts. Various documents of the Federation are also replicated, including the Articles of the Federation. If you're a Star Trek fan, I highly recommend picking it up. You can find a link at dorkygeekynerdy.com/book and check back every week for a new recommendation. And now, back to the show. Alright, it's time for the nerdy round. These will be the hardest questions we have today. Number 1. Desilu, the company that first produced the series, was owned by what 2 famous comedians? Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. Number 2. The TV trope, Planet of Hats, gets its name from which episode? A Piece of the Action. Number 3. Leave your bigotry in your quarters. There's no room for it on the bridge. Kirk chastises a crewman in what tense episode? A Balance of Terror. Number 4. What Federation starship vanishes at the end of the Tholian Web? USS Defiant. Ron Moore would later borrow the name for the ship in Deep Space Nine. Number 5. The Horta from The Devil in the Dark was a life form that was based on what element and not carbon like life on Earth? The Horta was a silicon-based life form. Number 6. Known as the First Lady of Star Trek, who played Nurse Chapel? Majel Barrett. Number 7. What network initially aired Star Trek? NBC. CBS, who currently owns the rights, had a first look but passed on it. Number 8. In what episode is Kirk surgically altered to look like a Romulan? The Enterprise Incident. Number 9. Who composed the Star Trek theme music? Alexander Courage. Number 10. Quadrotriticale is a type of what? It's the grain they're trying to protect in The Trouble with Tribbles. That's all the questions we have this week. I hope you had fun. We'll be back next week with more questions and more answers, hopefully in an equal number of each. If you can answer this bonus question, you'll know next week's topic. What superhero is Marvel's first movie of 2019? Please subscribe to the show on your preferred podcast provider, and while you're there, give us a 5-star rating. Share this episode with your friends and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can always find us at dorkygeekynerdy.com. I'm your host, Brian Rollins. Thanks for listening, and live long and prosper.